Hello, thank you guys for 100 subs. This is a late 100 subs video because I wasn't sure what to do, but I still wanted to do something with it. So I thought, let's go back to my favorite game of all time, Monster Hunter World, Iceborne. This game came out in 2018 and I got mega addicted. I played Monster Hunter games before this, but I was so young I didn't really know what was going on, and I ended up watching my older brothers play it. So when I seen that a new Monster Hunter game was coming to PS4, I hopped right onto that train, and it was a crazy ride. I love the game, and I loved every fight in the game during the time. Sure, in hindsight, some don't hit the same, but in that present moment, I absolutely loved it. We also got some crazy title updates, and I remember grinding them out an insane amount. I remember how long it took me to kill Behemoth in SOS Flares, and when it finally happened, I just jumped and did a crazy little dance. And then Iceborne was announced, and I legit had chills, like Iceborne chills. I couldn't wait for the new expansion, and I needed it in my veins instantly. 2019 comes, and it was Giga Peak. It came with some of the best returning monsters, whilst also featuring some mega new monsters. We also had some insane title updates with Iceborne, arguably some of the best post-game content I've ever seen a game have. And also, this game brought Nogigante, who is the best. Okay, let's get to it. Ranking the monsters, Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Quick note, there's not really a monster I dislike. They all gave me great experiences, though obviously there is flaws to everything, and some have a lot more flaws than others. So if something has a very notable flaw, I'll probably point it out if I think it ruins the monster a lot for me. Ancient Leshen. You know, I don't really dislike Ancient Leshen, like a lot of people do, but I still think it is the weakest of the roster. Like, once I got the gear from this guy, I never really wanted to do it again. Because of how small it is, I often find it hard to read, since it's harder for me to see. And to add on to that with a crazy HP pool and one-shot attacks, it didn't feel the best at times. Having to use Igni was cool. It kind of enforces that preparation element. Overall, I prefer the normal Leshen, and I think this is one with an unnecessary buff to it. Though it was a crossover, right? So I think I'll allow it. Nightshade Paolumu. Paolumu is funny and has a cute side to it. And Nightshade is kind of the same, but it is just a Paolumu with the sleep ailment, which can be rather annoying. The pattern you can see on it is pretty, kind of reminiscent of a peacock. Cool design from the art department, and I think Paolumu will always have the satisfaction of knocking it down by deflating the air sac. So kudos there. But truly, I just don't think the monster's that memorable. You kind of like just beat it at the start of Iceborne, right? And then that's it. I don't think there's just not too much to it. It's just a Paolumu subspecies. So unfortunately, I think I'd just put him here. Overall, decent monster, but nowhere near the best. Lavisioth. If you'll remember, this was the least hunted monster in the game. Now, I'm not 100% sure if that's because people thought it was bad or not, but I also think the gear was terrible. Like, there was nothing to grind from it. Honestly, I think it's overhated. I will say, it's not too memorable, but I think it's cool how it dives between the holes in its lair, flinging lava about, and how it can go outside the arena and shoot lava, that kind of stuff, right? It's got some neat attacks, but yeah, I can understand, it's not very memorable. Eurytodus, the other Piscine Wyvern, and one of the earlier monsters in the game. Piscine Wyverns get a lot of shade, but I think it's cool how Eurytodus makes a lot of use of its arena, and the whole mud flinging it does, which makes you move really slow. I think it has its gimmick, and they're well and clear. It's a good monster for early game, to teach the player about environmental hazards in combat. Zora Magdaros. Okay, so this monster, it was the main monster we followed throughout the base game, right? And as our primary target. And it's amazing spectacle and cool aesthetic design. But bruh, you know what I'm gonna say? What is up with the fight? Like, sure, it's hard to make something out of a big slow turtle, right? I don't know, man, this just wasn't it. First time through, it was pretty hype, but not something I'd want to replay. And the fact as well that this monster supposedly took a year of their dev time, there was definitely chances for something better. Like, I don't hate the monster, The fight just isn't great. That's just how it is. I mean, it's cool how, you know, Nergi appears, but then you don't even need to fight him and he flies away. But cool look, cool design to how he looks. Great Gyros. This monster falls in the category of not being very memorable for a lot of people, but I quite like it and its ecology a lot. How it's like a gang monster that patrols about scavenging for food, paralyzing its prey and summons the Gyros to fight with it. I think being in the Rotten Bear was kind of a cheat code for ecology, right? Because it's such a cool area and like the way things adapt to it, it's just pretty sick. I think Gyros is just as neat as well. Like it's like a cobra mixed with a lizard, having the black and yellow pattern and the red eyes. I don't know, I like it. I think it's pretty neat. Obviously I think it's, once again, not very memorable for a lot of people. Like I think you can technically not even fight it, but you know, I think it's quite cool. Shrieking Legiana. To me, Shrieking is a downgrade from Legiana, who I think is an awesome monster. Spoilers, but despite this, I like the themes and ecology of it. How it migrated with a massive flock to the Hoarfrost Reach, and how it can manipulate the ice element better. So obviously, is that really fun? I don't know, that's like your choice, right? It can be kind of annoying. In my opinion, the normal Legiana also looks better and fights better, so it kind of loses points for being a bit of a downgrade. But I still enjoyed it first time, right? It was just like on repeat, it was like, okay, this is a bit obnoxious. I also think it's cool how you can like see all the Legianas and stuff outside the nest. Like you can't reach it, but it's just cool to see. I don't know, it's alright. Downgrade from Legiana, but I don't hate it. Pink Raytheon. Pink Raytheon simply feels like a stronger and faster Raytheon with tougher parts, right? I think it also flies less. I don't know, that might be gaslight. Also, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it loses some of that satisfaction factor from like when you're breaking Raytheon's parts. This monster was also just placed at a bad time in the story, where you're tracking these unknown track, you know, sort of like near start of high rank, right? And it turns out to just be a pink Raytheon instead of something new or surprising, which is, you know, you kind of expected it if you looked at the tracks. It's still a neat monster, but I definitely prefer the other Raytheons. Leshen. Okay, hold up. This is a weird one, right? Being that you have to solo it as Geralt. However, I think the design is a lot better than Ancient Leshen. It was a really cool quest. Tracking it down really felt like a good crossover for the game, and the side quests you could do during it were great. The actual monster and moveset was cool, but it kind of suffered similar problems to Ancient Leshen of being hard to see in Telegraph at times, except it doesn't one-tap you. The OST in the fight is great though, even though it's, you know, it's a Witch OST. Witch OST is great. Also, fighting this dude with the Pookie is a peak experience. I think normal Leshen's overhated. I can understand not liking Ancient Leshen, but I think normal Leshen's fun. Maybe it's a bit, you know, you can only solo it, so that probably takes some points away, but I think it's overhated. I think at this point, we're getting to monsters where I quite like a lot of them, and they generally have nice things that I would say about them a lot of the time, which may be weird to you, because we still got 62 monsters to go. But as I said though, I can find reasons to like every monster in this game, to be honest, despite their flaws. Biotodus, the first monster in Iceborne. This snow shark is actually quite a good introduction to Iceborne. It's kind of, you know, the fact they were like, oh, first monster, Piscean Wyvern, kind of interesting, you know, because Piscean Wyverns get a lot of hate. Anyway, teaching the player to be prepared with hot drinks, null berries, and obviously the whole snow gimmick. For me, it's probably the best of the Piscean Wyverns in the game. The area it fights in is also pretty. Boys love a snowy forest or tundra area, right? Like big Skyrim fan, you know? And it really does a good job at blending and fitting into that area. I think, you know, it's actually, for a Piscean Wyvern, I'd say it's pretty memorable. Maybe because it's the first monster, right? But I don't know, it's alright, it's alright. Viper Toby Kadachi. This monster, pretty cool subspecies of Toby, but let's be real, right? This fight is very obnoxious, and it loses a lot of points for that. Being able to inflict like 3 different ailments is quite obnoxious for the player. However, once again, I suppose it reinforces the be prepared element of the game pretty early into Iceborne, so it gets some bonus points there. I will say though, it's quite a cute monster. There is this image of Viper Toby, which is very cute. So bonus points because of that. And there's like also this thing where like this little like animation, like you can find it daydreaming into a small pool of water. And once again, it looks cute, so bonus points for being cute. Azure Rathalos. So Azure Wrath, blue Rathalos, right? Flies about more, feels way more aggressive. I think Wrath is normal Rathalos, right? I think it's the perfect mascot for the Monster Hunter series, and a great combination of culminating the player's knowledge early game. However, I'd say Azure Wrath is a bit less good at that. You're fighting this monster, bring flash pods, and it should be fine. Notably, there is a lot of flash bugs you can usually use anyway, where you fight the monster. It's a pretty great monster. It doesn't stand out as much as the other Wraths. And I guess it makes sense, right? Its nest, it's like kind of more secluded. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. He looks pretty. I don't think he looks as pretty as the other two. It's an okay monster. I don't feel as much about it than the other Wraths. It's not very memorable. Uragan. Thanos himself. Thanos is kind of funny. Its face looks funny. And it's funny how you can mine his back. I remember for some reason, I really struggled with tempered Uragan. Like, this dude was just god for some reason. And the way it glows when it rolls about really stands out to me. Also, the way it just fits really well into its den for the rolling attacks, right? Pretty well designed in my opinion. This monster is just nice. I think it's a bit underrated by a lot of people, but it's also possible that maybe it's just not very memorable, right? It's okay. Decent monster, decent monster. Lunostra. Okay. This could be a hot take putting Lunostra here, because it's a really cool monster. Her moveset is definitely fitting for an elder, right? She has that aura about her. But honestly, I just can't forgive the supernova attack. Like, her kit is pretty cool. Her design, her ecology, all really cool. But that supernova attack loses her a lot of points, like a lot. You could argue it's fitting for an Elder Dragon, but most Elders have a decent and intuitive way to counter things. It really feels like she doesn't. I guess you can farcast her away, and also dragon weapons, you know, Elder Seal. It works, but it's like, it just doesn't feel as satisfying. Overall, high highs, low lows, I'd say. Good monster, ruined by one attack. Kushala Deora. Kush is arguably equal to Lunostra with its frustration, but Kush feels a lot more counterable with flashes and bowguns. Sure, maybe you shouldn't be forced to bowgun it, but it is satisfying. Kush is a good example of a low tier Elder Dragon. You can see that Elder aura with the wind and tornadoes everywhere, and I do like how it's just a simple metal dragon design, despite it seeming rather contradictory. But that also adds on to that magical feeling of Elder Dragons, right? So I think I'm happy with it here. I do like how Kush is passive in this game. Like, he doesn't really attack you until you provoke him, which is a common attribute of other Elders, but I quite like it, because you can either look at it as if like they're looking down on you or they don't see you as a threat. You know, there's like intelligence to it almost. Redoban. Redoban's a fun monster. Rolling about in the bones everywhere, similar to how Uragan rolls, right? Like, same skeleton. And it's cool how it has bones from different monsters on it. Like, you can see the Diablo swans and stuff, right? It's not too different from Uragan, but it is found a lot earlier. But I think the ecology and Redoban's role in the Rotten Vale is done really well. It's also really satisfying to fight Redoban, because you get so much part breaking because of the bones, right? You get just these constant like dopamine noises, right? And I think that's really satisfying. The tail cut is also really satisfying. Redoban is just a satisfying monster, right? It's just a satisfying monster to fight, and it just fits really well, you know? It's just perfect. Really good for where he is. Baroth. Baroth is nice. It has a fun gimmick with the mud plus charge combo, right? Teaches the players about positioning and dodging in the early game. And I like its ecology and design. It's also cool how you can break its head plating off and carve it. This wyvern is definitely, I think, when I think what's a low tier brute wyvern, Baroth is like the first one that comes to mind. His attacks, like, they feel very fitting, right? And the sound effects, like when he charges, you get this train noise. It's just a very fun early game monster. There's also something really cute about Baroth. I can't explain it. There's just something cute about it. It's a rather small brute wyvern, you know. Got this gimmick which makes it kind of look tough, like design wise, but it's not really. Overall, nice monster, good introduction to the Wildspire Wastes, and a neat early brute wyvern. Aolumu. Solid design, very cute, nice color scheme, great den, great ecology. Pretty solid all around, right? It's like the first monster you fight when you get into the Coral Highlands. Actually, I think it's the second. I think the first is Zitzi. It's very satisfying though to break its neck pouch. Kind of feel bad for him though, because like Haluma gets bullied in like every turf war it has, which is kind of expected, right? But seeing it get swung about like a chew toy, it's kind of sad, whilst also being really funny at the same time. It's just a great monster. Overall, just great monster. Very fitting for the Highlands. Yeah, just solid new monster. Raytheon, Jane Monster Hunter herself. A good early flying wyvern fight. I think a lot of people remember her from that one quest in the early game, where you see her and you can either fight or run. She's good at teaching the player how flying wyverns fight. You know, flying, but also having ground attacks. And I think she's easily telegraphed, which I don't think it's bad. I think it's nice to have easy telegraphs early on in the game. Also, it's just a very iconic monster. Like, it's John Monty Hunty's wife. Great design and ecology as well. Like, the spike on the chin is for feeding the young Rafts, and how she and Rafflos can survive in almost any environment. Just solid monster. Scarred Yangaruga. A variant of Yangaruga. However, it feels weird that the variant is just the tempered version and not a whole different gimmick to it. It is better at combat, faster speed and fireballs and all that, but it really is just a weird idea to make the tempered version of a normal Yangaruga this. Also, they lock it behind the guiding lands at a max level forest area, so I feel like a lot of people missed it, and I don't remember its gear being too great either. Did it even have gear? I don't remember. So I think because of factors like this, it's not too memorable. It's a fun fight, fun monster, but it's not too memorable or relevant. Still a great monster, right? Just weird decisions by the team at Capcom to make it feel somewhat irrelevant to fight. Tigrex. Okay, so Tigrex gets a lot of hate. I actually am a big Tigrex enjoyer. However, the fight can be rather obnoxious if you don't have a block or parry weapon, and its moves are mostly just charge and spin. I think there is a lot of charm in a monster that brute forces its way with pure strength, and it's something people don't appreciate enough. Also, how it's designed really just feels like a prehistoric predator in a way, like the first of its lineage. Tigrex has some great ecology, and I think that is one of the factors that carries it the most, but it's probably my least favourite out of what I like to call the cat wyvern trio. But it's definitely not as bad as people make it out to be. Also, the way its eyes glow red when angry, or the monster in general just kind of glows red, right? Great details, good monster. Pookie, my lovely Pookie. Pookie is a great intro monster at teaching the player about ailments. It's very clear how it poisons and what you can do to prevent it. And I think it's really great at how you can see eating the plants to acquire more poison. Its design and colour scheme I feel is well designed to tell the player, oh yeah, this monster poisons. Kind of like how a lot of venomous creatures IRL have a really exotic and bright colour scheme or pattern to them. This monster also gets bonus points for being in the Geralt quest and how you can interact with it. Banbaro. Banbaro is a really solid design and fight. This monster definitely feels like a brute wyvern, with how big and bulky it is. Its design fits strongly into the Hoarfrost Reach, and it's a fun monster for early game Iceborne. However, why is this dude an invader, which you can find in the volcanic region? It feels kind of off, and it loses points for that reason. Though at the same time, it's really funny to see it come out of nowhere with a rock and crash into another monster. Overall, solid monster, right? It just has some weird decision making behind it. Brute Tigrex, the monster that screams at you uncontrollably, dealing massive damage. I actually like the look and design of normal Tigrex more, but I think Brute Tigrex gets points for the scream being more counterable for players, since it allows you to react to it and position easier. I also just think it's a funny gimmick, which you don't really see from other monsters. Like, Bro just kinda comes and then screams in your ear and then you take a lot of damage. And I think it fits perfectly into what Tigrex is. Yeah, fun subspecies. Xeno'jiiva, the final boss of Monster Hunter World base game. This monster is a crazy spectacle, and I think it's insane to see your first time playing through. It feels like you're fighting an alien dragon almost. This monster has a really cool design, and don't even talk to me about how it looks when enraged. It's crazy. Also, just having its own arena as well gives it aura and bonus points. However, I think it's worth mentioning, a lot of its attacks don't do it justice for how cool of a monster it is. Though you could argue that this is because it's supposed to be a baby, right? But regardless, the fight can be kind of obnoxious at times. Its arc-tempered version was also a great improvement, however, and it really felt like an elder dragon when you fight it. The OST also felt really great fighting this monster. It really felt like a hunter pushing through to defeat the unnatural force threatening the world. Kind of like a hopeful vibe to it. Pretty good, yeah. It was a pretty good final boss monster. Coral Pookie. Oh, yeah, this monster is definitely something. It definitely left an impression on people. However, it's pretty fun to fight, and also has a pretty color scheme and design in general. I'm sure we all had a reaction of some sort when it was drinking from the plants in the ground, and then proceeded to squirt water at us. Jokes aside, I think it is a pretty solid and grounded design for a subspecies, arguably better than its predecessor, the normal Pookie. And fighting it in the Coral Highlands, it's always a nice sight. I think Coral Highlands, it gets you bonus points, right? It's just a really sick area. Yeah, 6 subspecies. Ebony Odogaron. So this is maybe a hot take to some, but this monster isn't better than normal Odogaron. However, this monster is still great. Ebony is a subspecies of normal Odogaron, giving it dragon element and turning it into an invader, using a lot of mobile attacks where it applies dragon blight to the player. It's a solid monster, and it's cool how you essentially find Odo in other environments with this subspecies, but it's not as good as normal Odo. I feel normal Odo is very grounded, fits really well into where it is, its ecology is amazing design. There's not really anything bad to say about normal Odo. And I don't know if there's much bad to say about Ebony Odo. It just doesn't feel as grounded. So I just think normal Odo is better. But this monster is still amazing. Yangaruga, the hyper chicken. This chicken is pretty awesome. Seeing a bird wyvern stand up to top tier monsters like Devil Joe is peak. It's a really funny monster to fight. Kind of like seeing a small guy beat up all the bigger guys. And it's incredibly fast and definitely up there for what I'd call the underdog, but sick. This cutscene where you see it stand up to Devil Joe really gave a good impression for the monster. I just wish there was more reason to fight it in the game. Overall great monster, just doesn't receive enough love and replayability from Capcom. Kind of similar to how scarred Yangaruga was. We are getting to the point where it's really hard for me to rank monsters. Like, most monsters from this point on have something I love about them, and not much I really criticize, so I'm gonna struggle. Zitsuyaku. This chicken is great. Not necessarily because of its fight. Like, its fight is funny, but because of the way it just kind of shows up out of nowhere and flashbangs everyone. Whilst that may seem like a pretty simple concept, I think everyone has had funny experiences in the game where this has happened. In mastering, the way it can change direction to bait you, it's a funny and simple improvement on it. Definitely one of the trolliest monsters in the game, but it's always fun to have it show up. It's also cool how it fits in the ecology of the Coral Highlands, where it steals from Shamos because of their sensitive eyes, so it just flashes them and it's easy. Great details to it, great monster. Black Veil Valhazak. Another scenario where I think the normal version is better, but this is still an awesome variant. It attacks with Oblivion, like normal Val, but it also pulsates it, which means the players need to be a bit more wary of their positioning when fighting it. It's pretty cool how it infects areas as well. Feels very territorial, like it owns the place. And you can actually see the spores in the air when the monster is present, which is a neat detail. It's also passive to hunters till provoked, which, once again, I think is a great detail for Elder Dragons. Great monster overall. It also looks cool. Dodo Gama. This cute little guy is fantastic. I'm sure we all know about the memes of him being cute, even having a quest referencing it. And the funny part is that when you get into high rank, he can actually one-tap you if you're not paying attention because of how he fills up the rocks in its mouth and becomes explosive. I'm sure we've all seen Dodo sleeping in the ground as well, and the way he drags himself along the ground, he's just a little guy. It's sad when you see him in Devil Joe's mouth though. Peak experience I've had is Dodo shooting rocks at a pickle and knocking him down. Truly the GOAT, the underdog, solid monster. Seething Basil Goose. This monster is awesome, however I'm a bit sad that it's no longer an invader, so it loses points for that. The moveset of this monster is great though. The scales that go into the giant purple bombs are pretty intimidating, and I'm sure we all know the giant nuke attack with the crazy roar Basil does after it. As I said, the monster is great, but not being an invader, I felt like that was the charm of Basil. Just coming out of nowhere and then crashing into you, blowing you up. Man, I do miss it. It is sad that it was a high rank only thing. But anyways, sick monster. Great Jagras, the tutorial monster. And what a great tutorial monster it is. A big fanged wyvern resembling an iguana who eats things whole and grows fat. Love it. The ecology of this monster is great. The way you see it go to the beach of the ancient forest, devour an Aptonoth or Kestodon, and then retreat to the den. Such a great way to introduce the player to how the world works in this game. And then they introduce the greatest Jagras, which is basically an elder dragon, and what a funny fight that was. Honestly, this monster, it just fits so well into the ancient forest. I'm glad it exists. Great monster, peak monster. And also the way it's like a pack monster, right? So you have all the small Jagras that follow it about and it tries to feed the small Jagras, you know, with the monsters it devoured. Perfect. Silver Rathalos. The hidden monster in the Guiding Lands and shown up in the nest on the north side of the Elder's Recess with Gold Raytheon. This is a pretty great endgame monster for base Iceborne. It looks sick, and the blue flames in the enraged state are awesome. My only real problem with this monster is the constant flying, but it is somewhat mitigatable because you can reach it and it's very satisfying to knock it out of the enraged state. It is also commonly found with the Gold Raytheon, which is a pretty neat ecology bit. Like, they're both rare, they kind of stick together, you know, all that stuff. And then, you know, Gold Raytheon, I'd say, is next. And in my opinion, the better of the two metal rafts, since its fight feels a little less obnoxious, due to mostly being ground attacks. Also, it looks as pretty as Silver Rathalos, and also has the blue flame as well. Gold Raytheon does some crazy flips that inflict you with noxious poison, fitting for its position in the hierarchy. I think the two metal rafts are interchangeable, or both rank the same I guess. They were fun to discover when you leveled up the Guiding Lands in base Iceborne. Overall, two great monsters, especially for being rafts. Acidic Glavenus, the dueling monster, the sword fight. Acidic Glavenus is sick. Not as good as normal Glavenus, but sick regardless. This Glavenus gets rid of the fire aspect of Glavenus and becomes a full sword fight, swinging his tail at you constantly. You find this monster in the Rotten Vale, presumably for the acidic crystals it has on its tail. But when ridden of them, it goes full sword mode. It is very fast despite being a big brute wyvern. Cool design, cool monster. Doesn't hit as hard as normal Glav, but I think for a subspecies in the Rotten Vale, they did it really well. Kirin, the unicorn elder dragon with power over lightning. This elder walled people back in base game, but it was kinda peak. When you first do the Kirin quest in World, the atmosphere is amazing. Just pure silence in the Coral Highlands, with a skybox filled with lightning and thunder. Amazing encounter. And then the Arc-tempered version absolutely obliterated people. Bro shown people what an Elder Dragon is. Despite this, it gets hunted by Rajang, which kinda makes it lose some aura, but nevertheless, this is a great monster, great ecology, and a great way to introduce players to what to expect from an Elder Dragon. Seliana. the apex of the Coral Highlands. This elegant flying wyvern gave me a great impression when I first encountered it in base world. It easily has one of the prettiest flying wyvern designs, or at least silhouette. Intentional because of its elegance, right? But it's nice, and it feels fair despite having ice blight, which can be rather annoying at times. It gets cheap points for being on the Coral Highlands, because fighting around the top of the Coral Highlands is absolutely peak. And when I say the top, I mean all those upper areas, right? It's great. Really great flying wyvern, really great area, great ecology. It's just a great monster. Diablos, another iconic flying wyvern in the series. This brute of a flying wyvern digs about and comes at you from the ground and doesn't actually fly about. Diablos is honestly this high just because it has a really damn cool design. Like, look at bro. He also has really nice ecology. I like how he's actually a herbivore, and you can see him a lot around cacti. Also, it has a really cool den and interaction with the upper part of the waist, where he can destroy the floor so that you fall into his nest. Just a really neat and iconic monster in the series. Can never really go wrong with him. He also has a great intro cutscene to when you fight him, right? Just a really cool monster. And also Black Diablos. Interchangeable with Diablos, really. It's a horny female Diablos, right? It's way more aggressive. It has a cool turf war with Diablos, which is basically a fight for mating rights, right? And if Diablos loses, then no mate for him. Which fight you like more between the two, I'd argue is subjective, but both are really great regardless of your choice. I just put Black Diablos ahead because I like how fast the fight is. Teostra, a lower tier elder similar to Kushala. Yet it has a cool design and fire explosion gimmick and a banger OST. You can find Teo in the Wildspire Waste and Elder's Recess. However, I think it's a cool fight in the Recess because of its den, where you go to like the lava bit on the outside of the map. Just a really cool cinematic spot. Teo's ultimate attack is a giant supernova which can easily one-tap you. However, there's counters to it, so it feels pretty well designed. A really cool detail is that Teo and Luna have a special combo attack, which is basically just a giant supernova, I believe, but the fact it's there gives a lot of bonus points. I do wish more monsters had combo attacks like the Wraths. If Luna didn't have her like really obnoxious supernova, I'd probably put her ahead of Teo, but just the fact it exists, you know, I gotta put Teo ahead. Val Hazak, a new elder introduced into base world. This guy is really cool. It's actually a silverish coloured dragon covered in red fleshy substance, which almost disguises it to blend in. Also having fake eyes and a fake jaw that kind of looks like a fish. Really cool design. It coexists with Evoluvium, which is an ailment applied to life. You know, hunters, halves your health, and Val can absorb the Evoluvium, which will probably kill you. Unique and awesome lore debuff. It's also just a fun fight, you know. Kinda has that normal low tier elder moveset, but it's other unique Evoluvium attacks like the Evoluvium beam, which will probably destroy you in one hit in base game. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a normal version in master rank, so I think that kinda takes some points off of it, but it's just a really cool monster. And I believe it has that whole, passive until provoked thing, which, you know, I'll say it again, all detail. Really sick monster. Frostfang Barioth. I believe this dude is just like old man Barioth. But anyways, this monster is sick. It has Sub-Zero Ice, like that one Velkhana attack. So basically, if you get stuck in it, he gon' kill you. Barioth, it's just straight up a cool design, you know. And Frostfang is basically just Barioth with fully realized ice attacks, which is rather deadly. Unfortunately, it went rather forgotten due to releasing alongside Alatreon, who was the spotlight for the update. But regardless, I like his moveset a lot, and his gear looks really cool. Barioth is just, it's just a cool monster, right? I don't think you can really go wrong with a subspecies, or sorry, a variant. Gulu Yaku, the best chicken in world. This dude is so funny that it's actually just kind of peak. Bro just walks about stealing eggs and using rocks as a combat tool. Like, you gotta hit bro and he raises a rock which you ding off of, and then he can throw it at you and it chunks your health. Just peak ecology and a funny design, right? Also, let's not forget the infamous giant chicken in the FF crossover, Bird Up as they call it, which one-taps you basically with every attack from the crystal and himself. This is one of the weaker monsters in the game, which gets this high off of lore, comedy, and design, and other things. It's just, yeah, it's just got loads of points, like loads of high highs to be honest. I don't think there's really a low other than there's not much reason to redo it after the first time in low game. But it's an amazing monster. Barioth, the normal version, the White Knight, one of the kitty trio. Barioth is really cool. Like the others of the cat trio, it has a very fast moveset, whilst also sporting some ice breath attacks which create tornadoes. It resembles a saber-toothed tiger, which looks really cool, and it blends really well into the environment. When Iceborne came out, this monster walled a lot of people, since it chunked and was very fast, so it's rather memorable for some people. I do wish this monster got a lot of love, because I feel like it didn't have great gear and it came at a point in the game where you kind of just pushed onwards after beating it. But regardless, it's a really sick design, it has really cool ecology, it's just an amazing monster overall. I love the cat. Volga Anjanath, a subspecies of Anjanath, and I think it's arguable that this may be the better of the two, but I have Volga here for a reason, and I don't think it's better. Anyways, Volga is basically Lightning T-Rex. The sound design of this monster is outstanding, man. Like when it goes into the lightning state, it makes some terrifying noises. And its ultimate attack, when you see that coming, you're like, holy! Like you don't want that thing hitting you. Volga is also an invader. So this dude can come at you from anywhere, which is kind of cool, and it feels very fitting. The Angers, they're just sick monsters, and I think Volga is a great subspecies to it. Like, they kind of nailed it. Yeah, sick monster, sick monster. Furious Rajang, the variant of the monkey himself. Tailless and angry. Some would say that this monster should be higher, but I'm pretty happy with it here, I think. It's a pretty funny yet terrifying variant on Rajang, but sometimes I think the fight can be a bit obnoxious, which is to be expected, right? But the constant deflex can make it rather annoying. And sure, you could be like, oh, just bring Mind's Eye, but even then you don't deal much damage. Anyway, the moveset is amazing. It definitely has the aura of Mad Monkey. It's basically what you'd expect of it, right? I do wish it had the attack where he takes a giant chunk of the earth and lobs it at you. He ended up getting in Rise, and so I think they realized, oh, maybe we could put it here. And it's very possible that they could implement it properly in World. But anyway, yeah, sick monster overall. I just don't think it's as good a fight as the normal Rajang. Anjanath. Okay, so he's Anja higher than Volga. Now, whilst I think Volga is probably the better fight, let's look back on low rank Anjanath. This dude was titled the Wall to many people, and rightfully so. Like if you fought this guy with minimal gear, he'd one tap you with some attacks. And this pushed a lot of players to either improve skills, get better gear, or give up. Definitely influential on the game in my opinion. Possibly one of the more influential monsters for the series. Also just the lore and ecology, Anja fits really well into the forest. I love how you can see it loafing sometimes, like he's sunbathing, and you can see it like sneeze mucus onto trees and stuff. He just fits perfectly into the ancient forest. Also how you see it right before you get into a Asterorite. I don't know, man, this monster is just great. Very influential monster. Brachydios, my beautiful Brachy boy. This monster is a rather unique brute wyvern, rocking a somewhat different body structure. The boxer wyvern, I'm going to call him. Brachy has an explosive slime gimmick, which forces the hunter to play around it, position around it, right? Whilst also trying to punch you with his big fist-like appendages. Brachy just has a great design and colour scheme to him. He just looks really cool to me. I also really like his OST, because it goes really hard. There's also that one clip where like a Brachy comes from out of nowhere and punches the player, which I always love watching. It's really funny. Braki ended up as 17th on the monster popularity poll, which I think is very deserving. It's just a really great monster, but I can understand why some people think he's maybe obnoxious to fight. Like his fight, yeah, it can be a bit annoying at times. So I'd say it doesn't really go too much higher because of that. But the actual design of the monster, the way he looks, the ecology, all this, just fantastic. Shara Ishvalda, the final boss of Iceborne base. This monster was a fantastic finale. Insane spectacle, insane surprise, insane design, just a sick final monster. I remember the build up with the cutscene. I was like, what am I fighting here? And it was hype, right? And you see the giant rock monster and you're like, okay, what are you meant to be? And bro was trying to slam you and get you in the sand and stuff. And then its shell starts breaking. And you're like, and it reveals this giant Hindu-inspired looking elder who just stares at you like actual you and has the aura wind attacks and stuff. It was just crazy. I wish this dude got an arc-tempered version like Xeno did. It could have been insane. It would have probably scored it higher on this list. But regardless, this monster was just sick. And his arena was just so good. Like definitely one of the better arenas in the game. Also his OST, crazy. Definitely one of the better OSTs in the series as well. Like, monster has really good music, and this one is definitely up there. Like you feel the pressure of the monster and the mystery behind it, like the mystery, but it's also just got the hope of the hunter implemented into it. It's just crazy. And the gear as well, like crazy gear. Definitely final boss, right? Definitely fitting for final boss. Just an insane monster. Rathalos, John Monsty Hunty himself. Maybe a hot take to some. Since Wrath is in every game, right? People are probably burnt out from him. But I think Wrath's implementation into world is amazing. Similar to Anjanath, he just fits perfectly into the ancient forest. King of the skies, having a rest at the top of the giant tree, like top of the world, right? Flying down every so often to hunt prey. This fight is also just the culmination of your low rank experience. Flying monster, ranged fire attacks, poison as well, clear environmental weaknesses and part weaknesses, like the waterfall as well, like environmental weakness, right? It's just kind of cinema, knocking him down and to the bottom of the tree and you like jump off and slam on him, right? Being able to flash him out the sky. It's just really, really well designed. Wrath is also pretty heavily affected by breaking his parts, which we already said, and that adds a lot of satisfaction to the fight. He's also just very pretty in this game. It looks really nice. Overall, really great monster despite his oversaturation in every game, but you know, he is the mascot, right? And they did him really well here. Kolv Taroth, our glorious golden queen. The truly biggest Jagras looking monsty. We got Kolv in base game with her own siege, and you know, it was pretty damn good. It gave us a nice base game grind. Well, not base game, it's a toe update, right? But like pre-expansion. And her gear was sick. She's actually pretty chill as well before you attack her in the high rank siege. Anyways, this big fire breathing lizard is pretty damn cool. You used to repel her by breaking her horns, but you can straight up just slay her in master rank. Kolv got a lot of love. He has tons of weapons, she has her own arena, her own music, her own armor, 2 great renditions of her fight, and also an arc-tempered version. Now, this arc-tempered version I think is the big reason she's so hype. When you see her spray the area in fire and the vocals to the new OST start kicking in, it's really hype. And I think that caught a lot of people off guard. And then getting the master rank version to actually slay her, it just went hard, man. It had sauce. Good updates from the team, great monsty. There's just a lot of good to say about this monster. Behemoth. Okay, this is the biggest hot take on the list. I absolutely love Behemoth. This chonker is an awesome crossover, way better than the Leshens. I have some amazing memories and experiences with hunting this monster. It was the first true wall that I encountered in the game, and I ended up going into SOSs doing it with other players when I started doing Extremoth. I really liked how this fight encourages a dedicated tank, healer, and 2 DPS, kind of like how 14 does it, right? For a lot of its content, and how there's a lot of details that really make it feel like a crossover, like the damage numbers and mechanical callouts, stuff like that. The music is awesome, and the actual way Behemoth looks is insane compared to actual FF14, right? Extremoth was a huge wall, but it really felt like some good friction that encouraged multiplayer, and like you had to play the game different and stuff. And the whole comet and ecliptic meteor mechanics is incredible. I especially like when the final phase is in the lava arena. It just feels way more cinematic with the meteors, and how you can dragoon jump to dodge the meteor and then come crashing down on Behemoth's head. There's just so many small yet great details to it. And obviously it gets a lot of hate for being a crossover, but I personally don't feel that. Like, if it's a good monster, good fight, if they make it fit in well, despite how it looks, right? I'm happy with that. Peak monster. Tobikadachi, a rather early game monster, being a cross between a squirrel and a snake, and probably one of the best early game designs. This monster performs loads of flip attacks and also does flips off of the environment, and has a really cool rage sequence where all its fur spikes up due to static from the thunder element. You commonly fight this monster within the dense part of the ancient forest, as that's where it fights and lives best. Ancient forest is just a really good area with the monster nests specifically, right? Like, I think it's really good with the nests, like, the Wrath nest we talk about, and the Kadachi nest. I really like the den and area. It fits Toby perfectly. It's also a very cute looking monster. But yeah, Toby also got a lot of love, it feels like. Really great ecology and design, and a really fun early game fight that actually punishes you if you position wrong. Because of Thunderblight, right? Like, you get stunned and you're probably dead. Or karting, I mean. Just a really sick monster. Odogaron, who I like to call Odogo. Mid-game, low-rank monster with incredible speed and aggressiveness that nests in the Rotten Vale. This monster is sick, in my opinion. It has a top-tier Fanged Wyvern design and embodies the title of Fanged Wyvern very well. It has really good ecology. This dude is incredibly aggressive and will basically attack anything it sees. Example, it has a turf war with Val as Zac, which is really funny. And however, it is outclassed by Val, and unfortunately gets picked up and flung about by Deviljho, which kind of loses some aura points. The fight is very fast, and you can see it jumping around the environment as well. It also has the bleed status, which I believe is the first fight to show it. It feels very fitting for how this monster is and how it fights. It just feels like a very grounded monster. It fits very well into the whole vibe of what it is and where it is. Also, the design is just amazing. I'm dying. Anyway, the design is just amazing. It's just a really solid monster. Velkhana, the flagship of Iceborne. This monster is amazing. Like, if I told you Velkhana is the ice cream, it's probably exactly how you'd think it is. Like, how it looks, how it plays out. I feel like it just fits ice cream perfectly. Her design is very elegant and clean, yet she also seems to be a cold-hearted killer, as throughout the story, you can see many frozen monsters which probably weren't even a threat to her, right? But yet, she froze them. Her fight is crazy good, and I love how she can create ice obstacles and frozen ground which causes the player to slide about, and this can kind of lead you into bad situations. Also, her music, it just feels perfect to what she is, like an ice cream fighting you, right? Really good theme. Additionally, she's also got an arc-tempered version with new music and attacks as well, and it feels like it's also just an improvement on the fight. Like, crazy got to something already amazing. She looks very majestic as well when she's resting at night around the Borealis in the sky, right? It looks amazing. It makes it like she definitely feels like the queen of the Hoarfrost. My only issue is that she didn't get too much attention outside of base game, where most monsters got some sort of subspecies or variant. She got nothing. So I kind of hope in the future she gets another sort of form, right? She was also 6th on the popularity poll, which is pretty damn good. Anyways, it's just the armor. Her gear is also amazing. And Frostcraft as well. Is that what it's called? Like the sheath thing? Sick. It's just a great monster, right? It's just a great monster. Deviljho, the big invader, hungry pickle himself. The first title update of base game world, and a huge menace. I love the pickle. Invader monsters kind of get bonus points for crashing the show, right? But Pickle really feels like a key invader monster. Like, he feels like the invader, which is very accurate to its ecology, since he is the big, hungry ecology eater. Pickle also feels like it's one of the brute wyverns where, like, when you think brute wyvern, Pickle is one of the brute wyverns you think of. Like, he comes to mind. he feels like a very memorable monster. I also love how his theme just sounds tyrannic, right? Like, you know, it's accurate to what he is. Also how Deviljho just gets in a turf war with like every monster it comes across. Like, it's just filled with turf wars where he slams monsters about with his giant ass muscular body. Another funny detail is that when you pitfall trap him, he can still do breath attacks, which catches a lot of newer players off guard. Also, you ever see that bit of the Ancient Forest where like Pickle does the jump course? It looks funny. Yeah, this monster is just peak. It's just peak. Like the way he fights, like he fights Elder Dragons as well, you know, it's just great to see. He's just peak. That's all there really is to it. And Savage Deviljho, the variant of Pickle, which is basically a Giga Angry Pickle because he's hungry. Mechanically, he gets a lot more dragon attacks, which is a pretty great way to differentiate between the two fights. The thing I really like about this monster is the giant dragon monster, kind of around his giant dragon aura around his face. It really sells that savage monster that will eat anything kind of vibe, right? Like, bro looks villainous like this, despite just being hungry. It's kind of funny how you could just come across him as well, just on a quest without knowing he existed. At least that's what happened with me. Arguably interchangeable with Deviljho, but both are incredible monsters. Great ecology, great look, great design, great armor, you know, just great. Rajang, our Super Saiyan monkey himself. Rajang is a very iconic monster in this game, notably because he's the only monkey monster, not counting Furious Rajang, right? But he's an invader who beats up other monsters, including Elder Dragons. You can't not love him. He's like small, right? But he just flips everything about through pure muscle and rage. He's a Thunder Monkey who legit powers up like a Saiyan going SSJ1, like bro's an Uzuru, and he proceeds to beat you up with his giant arms and thunder breath attacks. Funny enough, you can break his tail as well to knock him out of the enraged state. And when he's enraged, you can shock trap him, and he's raw, it like knocks you back and stuff. Like, Rajang will literally throw hands with everyone. He's definitely one of those monsters with the most turf wars, and he usually wins them unless they're on the same tier as him. This theme is also just kind of fun and iconic as well, like hearing the beats with the monkey screech like bros from Donkey Kong. Oh yeah, Rajang, it's just kind of sick. Definitely felt like a unique presence in Iceborne. Overall, just a sick monster. Very iconic, very unique. Just thick. Basil Goose, our favorite B-52 bomber. Basil, I feel, is a very iconic monster to world. As you probably know, this dude just kind of shown up on a random high rank quest, and it was pretty spooky at first. It was massive and explosive, and if you tried fighting him, you were probably getting carted very fast, at least early in high rank. Basil was a very peak experience, because this dude would just randomly show up and try to ruin your quest. But it always was funny. You'd hear the roar, you'd see him doing the diving bombing attacks, and then just dive into you. It made me kind of sad that Basil wasn't in Master Rank and was instead replaced by Seething, who didn't invade you on regular quests like Basil did. It's possible they did this because there was already quite a lot of invaders anyway, right? So they thought, hey, let's make a variant or subspecies of Basil. Regardless, Basil is definitely a highlight of Base World, and it wouldn't have been the same without him crashing in on every quest, right? Like he was definitely an influential experience to high rank. Also his theme is amazing. It's like you hear like the do 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 do, like, you know Basil's there to beat you up, right? He's there to crash the party. I loved hearing it every time out of nowhere. He'll just catch you off guard. It's peak monster. Namiel, a new Elder Dragon introduced into Master Rank, who you can find in the Coral Highlands, based off of sea creatures such as jellyfish and manta rays. This Elder is a very unique looking monster with a very pretty colour scheme and patterns, using the thunder and water elements. And Namiel would attack you with water attacks like beams and shots, whilst also being able to electrify during another state. Namiel feels like a very unique monster who's done very well. She's also very cinematic feeling, despite just like using a normal Elder Dragon route, right? Like, she had some very cool attacks. She definitely fits the Elder Dragon title. And also the giant water nuke, right? Which she electrified. Just very cool. And she's also got that passive Elder thing, like provoke it, so it actually fights back, which, you know, I personally love. I've said it many times in this video. It's just chill. It's like, it's nice to chill next to them, right? It adds a lot of personality. Her gear as well, very cool and unique. Her theme, sick, amazing. They always know how to make an Elder theme feel very unique, fitting, and specific to them, right? Nami was 18th on the popularity poll. And you know what? I think she could have been higher. But anyways, it's just a really sick monster. I would love to see her return, maybe in another form as well, like a subspecies or variant. Definitely deserving of it. Just a sick Elder. Raging Brachydios. A variant of Brachydios who's a lot bigger, a lot tankier, and hits way harder. Raging Brachy has the gimmick of his slime exploding way faster than a normal Brachy. You fight him in the Guiding Lands, where he'll slowly make his way into the volcanic area. So I'm sure we all know about the final phase of this monster. It was giga hype to witness first time. The way he starts pounding the floor at super fast speeds with the choir of a new OST chanting in the background and then the mega roar, it was just so hype. Like, I remember they teased that on stream and it was like, Aah! Couldn't wait to get into it when it came out. It was basically a, if I'm gonna die, you're coming with me moment, which is undeniably hype as hell. This monster definitely left a good impression on me and many other players who are looking for those aura moments from monsters. It was just a peak fight. Also, his gear was just amazing, you know, just peak. Glavenus, probably one of the coolest designs they've ever made, at least for brute wyverns. Like, bro has a sword for a tail whilst also wielding fire attacks, you know, like obviously acidic Glavenus has the sword for the tail, but I think the color palette and fire attacks definitely make regular Glavenus a lot more appealing. Also, just fighting him in a more open area instead of the Rotten Vale, it just hits really hard. I should have mentioned with acidic Glav as well, but the Glavenus OST is absolutely peak. Like, that OST is the dueling OST. You feel like you're in for the giant sword duel fight to this OST. It's so good. As I said, Glavenus is easily one of the sickest designs. It's funny how they made a T-Rex with a sword for a tail, and it feels realistic, right? But that's defo a Monster Hunter dev team thing. Like, no other dev team is gonna do that. I think as well, considering its whole gimmick, it's definitely one of the more satisfying tail cuts to pull off. It's like you're disarming him. It's just such a sick monster, man. It's so sick. Glavenus is just peak. Zynoga, the Thunderwolf, rank 1 on the monster popularity vote, and for good reasons. Zynoga is arguably John Fanged Wyvern. He's what comes to mind when I think of the Fanged Wyvern. Zynoga has a crazy design and crazy color scheme. Easily the coolest looking monster of the classification. Well, maybe not the coolest. I'm sure you know what the coolest is, in my opinion. But also having some great ecology behind it as well. Its Iceborne version feels very refined, whereas it felt like a downgrade in Rise, personally, in my opinion. Zynoga has a symbiotic relationship with Thunderbugs, which allows it to do a lot of crazy lightning stuff you'll see him do in combat. This monster is sick, and I think he gets a lot of hate, like people call him overrated, but in my opinion, I think it's deserving of the love it gets. Whilst I don't think it's the best monster like a lot of other people, it's definitely amongst the best. He has a sick fight and moveset, sick ecology, sick gear, sick OST, he's really got it all. And yeah, the OST is a banger, especially when you mount him and the drums start kicking in. Like, drums are just kind of hype. The dev team knew how to make him hype. It's just a really cool monster. There's not much else to say about him. And the cutscene as well, where he just kind of aura farms past you, it's just a sick monster. Very deserving of the love it gets. Nagakuga, the third of the Cat Wyvern trio, and the best of the three in my opinion. Nagakuga is one of the sickest designs they've ever made, despite being one of the more simple designs, but sometimes less is more, right? He resembles a Black Panther, whilst also feeling like a ninja. He commonly uses his whole body for attacks, such as jumps and pounces, but his tail is the strongest tool, being very long and powerful, whilst also flinging projectiles off it. He's a very fast and strong monster. You will see him jumping about everywhere at fast speeds, which is very fitting for what it is. Naga Cougar just has great ecology as well, where you will often find it nesting in more desolate locations found in habitats like forests, so hunters can't catch it off guard. Honestly, it's just a really damn cool design, right? The black fur with the red eyes and a flying wyvern, and when it goes enraged, his eyes glow red and leave behind a trail of red light. They just hit really hard, right? Not to mention that he has a really sick OST as well. The Cougar ended up 7th on the popularity poll, and in my opinion, it's just one of the best flying wyverns. It's just, I love this monster, man. It's such a sick monster. Naga Cougar, the Cougar's just sick. Sick. Stygian Zynoga. This is the coolest fanged wyvern in my opinion. The Dragon Doggo. This monster is sick. They were like, how do we make Zynoga cooler? Oh, make it black, red, grey and white, then give it the dragon element. And yes, it did work. Instead of thunderbugs, he now uses Dracophage bugs for the dragon element, which strikes lots of areas around it during combat in a rather telegraphed way, which makes it fun to dodge. You find this dude in the tundra and volcanoes. Instead of the mountains and forests, you would usually find normal Zynoga. This monster just looks really cool, especially in World's art style and graphics. It really stands out in the ice areas especially. Bro was also 11th on the popularity poll as a subspecies, which is pretty impressive. You've already heard me talk about how sick I think Zynoga is, so basically just apply that to this monster, but a bit better. Once again, they just nailed it with Stygian Zynoga. Peak. Ruiner Nergigante. A variant of Nergigante that is hardened by combat, with metallic spikes that cause bleed, and faster and unpredictable attacks. I'm a big fan of Ruiner Nergigante, though normal Nerg is my favourite monster, and Ruiner Nergigante is just as good, almost. He's a very fast-paced fight, and comes at you with brute force as opposed to some sort of element, like a lot of other Elder Dragons have, which I love. You can find Ruiner in any of the maps in the game. However, I think most people they usually fight him on Origin Isle, right? Where you'd fight Shara Ishvalda, because there was like that one event quest where you farm in, you know? Ruiner is supposed to be a more intelligent Nerg, so instead of fighting wherever it sees, you'd find Ruiner to be more of an opportunist who waits. The only real problem I have with Ruiner was the fact that you could CC it super easily by breaking the spikes, so it was kind of hard for it to fight back. But maybe that's something that comes with fighting the monster a lot. Truthfully, it's a really sick monster with really good ecology. I really do love the Nergs, and I think they are some of the best monsters to fight in the game. Ruiner was also 9th in the popularity poll, which is pretty damn good for a variant. Once again, I love Nerg, and I love Ruiner Nerg, but I think there is just some problems with how easy it is to CC. I think if it was like maybe a slight flinch or something, it would have been better. Alatreon, the infamous Black Dragon himself, causing a lot of disruption in the Monster Hunter community. This guy is peak. So when they showed the trailer for this dude, it was pure hype. We were getting a Black Dragon in world, which also meant improved moves and many other things. He comes out and we get told we gotta use the opposite element he starts in, Fire and Ice, to nerf Eschaton Judgment. Eschaton Judgment starts casting if you didn't hit the DPS check, you were carting, or failing the quest. This destroyed people's mentals. They couldn't hit the DPS check, and in came the negative reviews out of spite. Alatreon was in their head rent free. I love this monster. I felt like I got a lot better fighting this monster. I improved at the game. It hard tested your skills and preparation. And then when you beat it and you get the try victory theme, it was good times. Good times indeed. Alatreon ended up as 10th on the monster popularity poll. I think this guy is epic in every way. Epic theme, epic design, epic fight, epic gear, epic ecology. Dude just went hard. He's very deserving of his title as Black Dragon. And I am really happy that he was in World. Just a sick monster. Safi Jiva, the Red Dragon. Smaug looking dude himself. Safi was a siege monster introduced in Iceborne that brought a load of weapons and some of the sickest gear in the game. This dude would often take 2 to 3 hunts on release depending on your skill and lobby skill level. This monster is peak. It's the adult version of Xeno'jiiva. So bro went on from being some weird alien monster lava thing to the red dragon of death. His design, body structure wise, is rather simple. He looks like a western dragon, but when you look at him in more detail, like his scales, they look a lot different than the usual reptilian scale, right? Which is a nice ecology detail. This monster in general just has sick ecology. And the fight itself, I'm sure we all know about the one ultimate attack, the Sapphire Star, I think that's what they call it, which insta-kills you if you're not behind a rock. They really made this bro a cinematic masterpiece of a monster. Chasing him down into the depths of the valley is great. Like, the arena for this monster is amazing. This monster is just so good, man. I hope we get more of him in the future somehow. Maybe like a variant or subspecies, or heck, even just a return fight, kind of like Cole from Master Rank version, right? But it would just be so cool if we get to see him again. Fatalis, the final boss of Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and easily one of the best final bosses in gaming. This dragon challenged every player on release and forced us to get better. The design of this fight is amazing for a final boss. It really culminates everything you've done in the game to this moment, making you prepare everything before the fight, whilst also utilizing the environment in game. And the fact we go back to the castle straight to fight him, it's the ultimate boss experience. Also the fact bro is just a fantasy dragon, and it makes him feel like a god almost in the world of Monster Hunter, right? Very fitting and almost scary at the same time. I feel like when this dude came out, everyone was talking about it. Like, it was a very impactful fight in gaming. The way he stares at you as you fly in like you're some irrelevant insect. Pin, where you stick to his chest, which supposedly has melted many other hunters onto it. The earth-piercing roars when he goes into the blue flame phase. The giant fire cone attacks he does when he flies out of the arena. So much of this fight is just a cinematic masterpiece and a mechanical masterpiece. They really cooked for a final boss monster here. And also just like his moves in general, they're like pretty telegraphed but also catch you off guard. Fatalis, like, it's just peak. It's just peak. Fatalis also placed 8th on the monster popularity poll, which is pretty it's crazy, right? Considering he's at the end of the game. So a lot of people probably just missed him. This fight is definitely one of my best gaming memories when it came out, and it's going to be really hard to top it. Also just like the music as well, like bro has like, it's like 3 or 4 different OSTs, right? And then when Proof of a Hero plays when you hit the Dragonator, it's peak gaming. It's peak gaming. Like, Fatalis is just one of the best final bosses I've fought in a game. Nergigante, the flagship of Monster Hunter World. So as you already know, like, come on, this is absolute 100% bias from me. I'm not gonna hide it. If there wasn't bias, then Fatalis is number 1. But this monster is peak design for a flagship, in my opinion. The first time you see him are during the Zora fights, but there's build-ups to him, right? But you repel him from Zora, and it's pretty great seeing first timers there, like, they get carded by him quite a lot, or they run, you know. And then you actually fight him in high rank, and it's a really good build-up, and it's some of the best fight design in high rank. An Elder Dragon who preys on other Elder Dragons using brute force is just peak. Also aesthetically, he's just a really cool monster. The way you can see his spikes go harder over time, you can tell when he's going to do the big dive bomb attack because of it, which is easily one of the coolest Elder ultimates in the game. I see it carted so many people, really. I love how he's got this black and grey colour scheme for his outer scales, and then he's got this orange and purple colour scheme for like his inner scales and his accent. A lot of people tend to have bias towards their first flagship, and since this is like the first Monster Hunter game, I actually, I delve really deep into it, put thousands of hours into it. It's very possible, okay, it is. There is bias from me here, but I truly believe he is a very well-defined monster. Also, like, the Arc-Tempered version, it was just such an amazing fight. Like, it kind of basically turned into what Runa Nerg is, but back in high rank, it was just so good. It's just a peak monster. Haters will hate. This monster gets a lot of hate, but I mean, that's just how it goes with popularity, right? people will always hate on popular things for little to no reason. Oh, and dude, like Arc-Tempered's music, like OST as well. Ooh, it was so good. But this guy was top 2 in the popularity poll for a reason, and I just love this guy. Anyways, that's my monster rankings for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. I'd say a lot of them are interchangeable. Like the top 5 monsters, I think you could really interchange them, and any order I think would work. But I truly believe that almost all of the monsters in the game have someone who loves them for some reason, and that all can be appreciated in some way or another. World and Iceborne were really generation defining games for the series, and when I see that they were coming to PS4, I instantly hopped onto it, and I can easily say that I'm glad I did. The game feels like it sticks to its roots really well, whilst also having that next gen appeal to it, which I think is truly the best decision they could have done for the game and the series. And here's to hoping that it only continues upwards with the upcoming G-Rank expansion that Wilds is getting. I hope you guys enjoyed this monster ranking, and thank you for, supporting me. It does mean a lot. Obviously, there is some, there's always going to be bias in these monster rankings. It's kind of unavoidable, I feel, for a human being. So, yeah, I just hope you enjoyed it, really. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace!